Hi, it's Frank, and today we're going to be covering the Michigan CDL practice test. This test focuses on the core general knowledge required to operate a commercial motor vehicle, CMV, including vehicle systems, especially air brakes, safe driving practices, and inspection procedures. Let's get straight into the questions. What is the minimum pressure at which the low air pressure warning signal must activate in an air brake system? Below 60 psi. This warning alerts the driver to dangerously low air pressure that could compromise braking capability. Let's continue. What is the correct and safest procedure for steering a commercial vehicle out of a drive wheel skid? Stop accelerating, push in the clutch if applicable, and steer gently in the direction you want to go. Removing the power allows the drive wheels to regain traction, and gentle steering prevents overcorrection. Moving on, when driving a heavy vehicle, what should be checked regarding oil and coolant during the pre-trip inspection? Check the fluid levels, ensuring there are no visible leaks from hoses, pumps, or caps. Fluid leaks in low levels can lead to engine damage or overheating. Time for the next question. How do vehicle speed and weight affect the total stopping distance of a commercial vehicle? Total stopping distance increases as speed increases and also increases as vehicle weight increases. Both factors increase kinetic energy, requiring a longer distance to stop. Next up, if you are driving a commercial vehicle and the service brake pedal goes to the floor, what should you do? Downshift, use the emergency brake or parking brake lightly, and look for an escape ramp or safe spot. Downshifting provides immediate engine braking while you find a way to stop safely. Let's continue. How should a driver check the slack adjusters on an air brake system during a pre-trip inspection? Pull firmly on the slack adjuster. It should move no more than 1 inch. Excessive movement indicates the brakes are out of adjustment. Moving on. What is the maximum safe amount of steering wheel play? Free movement for a heavy truck. No more than 10 degrees, about 2 inches on a 20-inch wheel. More than 10 degrees of play indicates a dangerous defect in the steering system. Time for the next question. What is the minimum tread depth required for front tires on a commercial motor vehicle, CMV? 4/32 of an inch. Front tires require more tread depth due to their critical role in steering and traction. Next up, what is the proper use of retarders, engine brakes? Use them to supplement the service brakes, but turn them off on wet or slippery roads. Retarders apply force only to the drive wheels, which can cause a skid on poor surfaces. Let's continue. When driving in heavy fog, which lights should you use? Low beam headlights, as high beams reflect off the fog and worsen visibility. Low beams shine down onto the road, reducing glare. Moving on. What is the best way to handle a hazard that is immediately ahead of you? Brake, then steer around it, or steer first if braking is impossible. Braking first slows the vehicle, giving you more control for steering. Time for the next question. How far ahead should a driver look while driving a CMV? 12 to 15 seconds. This provides enough time to observe hazards, assess the traffic flow, and react safely. Next up, what is the most common cause of skids? Driving too fast for road conditions, e.g. speed and curves, weather. Excessive speed prevents tires from maintaining traction. Let's continue. What must you do before starting down a steep hill? Shift into a lower gear suitable for the grade before the descent begins. This allows the engine to assist in controlling the speed, preventing service brake overuse. Moving on. What does GCWR, gross combination weight rating, mean? The maximum weight specified by the manufacturer for the powered unit and its loaded trailers. This is the combined legal weight limit set by the manufacturer. Time for the next question. If you double your speed from 20 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour, your stopping distance will increase by approximately 4 times. Stopping distance increases exponentially squared with speed. Next up, how fast should the air pressure build from 85 to 100 psi in a dual air system, governor cut-in pressure? Within 45 seconds. A longer build-up time indicates a problem with the compressor or a leak. Let's continue. What is the function of the governor in an air brake system? It controls the air compressor, telling it when to start pumping cut-in and when to stop cut-out. The governor maintains the air pressure within the safe operating range. Moving on. What causes brake fade? Excessive heat caused by continuous heavy braking, leading to loss of braking power. Heat causes the brake components to expand and lose friction. Time for the next question. What is the most critical safety issue when transporting dry bulk cargo like grain or sand? The load shifting suddenly during cornering, braking, or accelerating, affecting stability. Shifting cargo raises the center of gravity and creates a rollover risk. Next up, what is the minimum number of tie-downs as required for a flatbed cargo load that is 10 feet long? 2 tie-downs, 1 for every 10 feet of cargo or part thereof. The minimum required is 1 tie-down for the first 5 feet or less and a second for any length over 5 feet. Let's continue. What is the best practice for using your horn? Use it only to warn others of danger. Avoid expressing anger or displeasure. The horn is a safety device, not an expression of emotion. Moving on. What should you do when you are being tailgated? Increase your own following distance and avoid sudden speed or lane changes. Creating space in front allows you to brake gradually, which protects the tailgater. Time for the next question. What is the effect of having oil or grease on the brake drum's linings? Brake drums linings contaminated with oil or grease will not stop the vehicle effectively. Contamination severely reduces the friction required for braking. Next up, what should you do if your vehicle is equipped with ABS, anti-lock braking system? Brake normally. ABS will kick in automatically. Do not pump the brakes. Pumping the brakes defeats the purpose of the ABS system. Let's continue. How should a driver check the hydraulic brakes before driving a CMV? Pump the pedal 3 times, then hold firm pressure for 5 seconds. The pedal should not move. If the pedal moves or feels spongy, there is a leak or defect. Moving on. What is the most effective way to prevent fatigue-related accidents? Stop driving immediately, pull over safely, and get adequate rest. Rest is the only cure for fatigue. Time for the next question. What is the primary purpose of side-by-side convex mirrors? To provide a wider field of view, significantly reducing the vehicle's blind spots. Convex mirrors are essential for safely changing lanes. Next up, when should you downshift in a manual transmission CMV? Before entering a curve, before starting a hill, and before starting a downhill grade. Downshifting should be done before the situation requires the change. Let's continue. What should you do if your engine overheats? Pull over safely, stop, and let the engine cool. Do not remove the radiator cap until the temperature is safe. Removing the cap when hot risks severe burns from pressurized coolant. Moving on. What is the danger of shifting gears on a downgrade? You might not be able to engage the next gear, leaving you to coast without engine braking. Losing engine braking on a hill is extremely dangerous. Time for the next question. What is the minimum tread depth required for all non-front tires on a CMV? 2/30 of an inch. Drive and trailer tires require less minimum tread than the front steering tires. Next up, what does a cracked brake drum indicate? The brake drum is compromised and the vehicle must be taken out of service immediately. A cracked drum is a major defect that can lead to brake failure. Let's continue. What is the correct way to correct a trailer jackknife? Stop braking, take your foot off the accelerator, and countersteer gently. Stopping the brake acceleration action allows the wheels to regain control. Moving on. The air compressor governor cuts in, starts pumping, around what pressure in a dual air system? Around 100 psi. The compressor begins pumping when the pressure drops to the cut-in level. Time for the next question. What should you do if you are involved in an accident? Protect the area, notify authorities, and care for the injured. Securing the scene prevents further accidents and injuries. Next up. What is the function of the safety relief valve on the air compressor? It protects the air system from excessive pressure, usually set to open at 150 psi. This prevents damage to the air tanks and other components. Let's continue. What is the danger of carrying heavy cargo high up on your vehicle? It raises the center of gravity, increasing the risk of rollover on curves or steep turns. A higher center of gravity decreases stability. Moving on. What is the rule concerning the use of headlights in Michigan? Use them from a half hour after sunset to a half hour before sunrise, or when visibility is less than 500 feet. This covers both low light hours and limited visibility conditions. Time for the next question. What is the penalty for a driver operating a CMV with an alcohol concentration of 0.04% or greater? CDL will be suspended disqualified for at least 1 year. The federal limit for CMV drivers is strict due to the size and weight of the vehicles. Next up, what is the purpose of the emergency brake interlock system on certain passenger vehicles? Prevents the vehicle from moving when the rear emergency exit door is open. This is a safety feature on buses and passenger shuttles. Let's continue. When should you turn off your high beams? When within 500 feet of an oncoming vehicle or following a vehicle within 300 feet. This prevents blinding other drivers. Moving on. What should a driver check on the brake shoes linings during the pre-trip? They must be free of oil, grease, cracks, and should not be worn thin. Worn or contaminated linings will not brake effectively. Time for the next question. How should you check the parking brake system during the pre-trip? Engage the parking brake and gently tug against it in a low gear to ensure it holds. This verifies the parking brake will hold the vehicle securely. Next up, what is the primary purpose of conical or reflective triangles? To warn other drivers of a disabled vehicle on the roadway. Warning devices provide advance notice of a stopped CMV. Let's continue. What is the most common cause of brake failure? Excessive heat caused by using the brakes too much on downgrades. This leads to brake fade, a loss of braking power. Moving on, what is the required distance to place warning devices if your CMV is stopped on a 2-lane road? 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet from the vehicle in the direction of approaching traffic. The staggered placement gives approaching traffic enough warning. Time for the next question. When driving in heavy rain or standing water, what danger should you be aware of? Hydroplaning and reduced brake braking effectiveness. Water separates the tires from the road, and wet brakes take longer to stop. Next up, what should you do before backing a commercial vehicle? Get out and walk around the vehicle. Use a spotter and use four-way flashers. GOAL is the safest way to check the area before reversing. Let's continue. What is the mandatory speed limit for a CMV on a Michigan interstate in a rural area? 70 miles per hour. This is the standard maximum speed for commercial vehicles on rural interstates in Michigan. That wraps up our practice session for the Michigan CDL practice test. Keep reviewing this material and you'll be ready for your test.